of Two Old Men in Chairs. I'm Corin Strong.
And I'm Howard Appel.
And today we're going to do a song that features Dax and Tom MacDonald. And this came out last fall. And I want to make it clear because some people have commented that we're not really doing reactions on this channel, and that's true. We're too old and too slow to react to a fast rap song and figure out what the hell they just said. So I've seen this song many times. Howard, you just seen it for the first time.
I guess you might say we're reviewing these.
Yeah, I say reflecting on them.
Yeah.
And actually, when I first had the idea of doing YouTube videos, I was going to do the top 5 songs of 2021 in review. And we've done a number of them. Chris Webby, Raw Thoughts 5 was, I thought, the song of the year. And we've done a couple with Tom MacDonald that would have been on my list. But I also was going to do this song because I think this is a really good representation of 2021. It's called Propaganda.
Hey, Daryl. You good, bro? You ain't picking up calls, dog. What's wrong, man? Daryl, you good? Hey. Hey, Daryl. Don't lose yourself.
So we can see what's happened to Derek. He's being mesmerized by Dick Smith, who has very large ears.
The interesting thing is I've observed this phenomenon with members of my own family. And I'm not exaggerating. I mean, well, my grandson and my wife. And, well, you might think the grandsons just ain't paying attention to Grandpa, but no, it takes about 6 to 8 seconds to get them to realize you're talking to them because they're absorbed in their media.
Yeah.
It's a real phenomenon.
And Dax is also an independent artist, similar to Tom. And there's one other thing that he has in common with Tom, many things, but one that I noticed is they both are excellent actors. And it's not unusual. I watched a number of Dax's other videos, and what he just did there with the knocking on the door and the coming in, it looks like you're watching a movie, right?
Sure.
And you're expecting a horror scene, and in a way this is a horror scene. His friend has been totally mesmerized here. So we'll keep going.
And all I see is propaganda, propaganda. 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 Yeah, united we stand.
Okay, before he goes into his little rap here, I just want to mention this kid can sing.
Sure.
I mean, he
Nice
went
range.
way up, hit those high notes there, which a lot of rappers can't actually sing. You know, they can rap, you know, but they couldn't possibly hit that kind of a high note. So that's pretty cool.
I just wanted to comment another feature from real life. I was riding the Amtrak train a few years back, and a fellow had actually smuggled one of these giant albino pythons on board, a big snake, and it had gotten loose up in the baggage rack and was crawling around. And my wife and my son and I were sitting, you know, those on one side of the seat and me on the other side of the aisle, and this thing comes down.
What kind of snake was it?
A python, I believe, or a boa constrictor, whatever they have. One of those really big ones, though, and it comes down. And,
Yeah.
You know, just like the
It's
pictures.
not venomous.
No, it's a constrictor. They kill by
Yeah.
squeezing. And
Okay.
there was a guy in the back seat with all kinds of tubes, you know, some heart condition, all kinds of tubes in his nose, and a little kid in the seat ahead of my wife, but they could have swallowed it. Okay, so this thing comes down, and you know, and we're riding through New Jersey, and I say, There's a snake in this coach. Nobody's, they're all looking at their phones. There's a snake in this coach. So they're looking at their phone. There's a snake in this coach, and about then people started paying attention. The conductor, luckily, was on the car, and he took care of things. The fellow actually that owned the snake, was smuggling it, was arrested in Philadelphia. In fact, so
Well, that scene where he walks to the diner and everybody's on their phone. In fact, he goes up to one girl and he goes like this in front of her. She doesn't even see him. That is real life. I mean,
absolutely.
and sometimes you'll even see like a couple, they're out together, but they're not even talking to each other. They're both looking at their separate phones.
40 years ago, if somebody predicted that to us, we wouldn't have believed it. That people would be that absorbed into a machine.
Yeah. Well, all they see is propaganda,
Yeah.
which is the name of the song. All right, now, so pay attention because it's all going to come fast and furious now when he starts rapping.
How do we fall? New Year's Eve, they've been dropping the ball. Independent, how we dead in the game. We don't write to the sound of applause. Hidden truth, dotted lines, ain't never signed, stood and remain the boss. In a world that is full of facades, where if you speak, you get nailed to a cross. I won't be silent, I am outspoken. I am the product of pain, so when you see my name, no fame could never break down a brain that is already broken. Every wound is a paid devotion. They fill words as I purge emotion. Scabs hair as I drop hits that bleed lied from demonic omens. The system decides.
So what happened there was all of a sudden the television came on. And apparently they were reporting that he was there or something.
Okay, I didn't get that, yeah.
Something had happened at this diner. We're going to see in a second that they're staked out in front of the diner. And immediately, everyone who was absorbed in their phone is now mesmerized and turns and is staring at the television set. And then once they figure out what's happening, of course, the next move is they all pull out their camera phones.
So now they're finally paying attention to him.
Now they're going to pay attention because they saw him on TV or something
Now he's
about him on
something
TV.
in their world.
So now, okay, something's happening. We don't know what it is, but we better record it.
And the
You
camera,
know.
the camera reaction. Yeah.
And everyone in the whole diner starts recording him.
We buy while most of our time is spent in bed. The dreams we have all stay inside. We sleep and wake and live with regret. The price of life is half the cost. The price of fame could cost your head. If infamy is what you seek and propaganda is what you spread. Propaganda. Propaganda. And all I see is propaganda. Propaganda.
Live on the scene. News you can trust. Do you trust the news? I don't think so. And he's trying to tell them what's going on. Of course, they don't really care what he's trying to say. They just want, the fact that it's a news story and there's some sort
So
of...
he is the story.
What?
He is the story, basically.
Yeah, they're trying to interview him to find out what's going on, and he's trying to explain what's going on, but they don't really care about that. They just want the fact that there's something weird happening because that's sensational, and that'll get more viewers. Okay, so he breaks away from the news conference.
And all I see is propaganda. Propaganda. And all I see is propaganda. Propaganda.
So I kind of think, and tell me if you notice this, I think this guy driving the car here looks a lot like the guy that was the zombie in the first scene.
That's subtle. I haven't watched this enough to catch that.
Yeah, if it's not, he's another person that's kind of, really not paying attention. He's driving, but he's either texting or distracted or whatever.
We can't go back and hone in on that and just see if it's...
No, it'd be too hard to go all the way back. But anyway, so here we're coming up with the Tom MacDonald part of the song.
Indoctrinated, they convince us all that everything we say is racist, and blood will change it. That's what happens. Y'all need balance. Y'all need blacks and whites and lefts and rights to stop the madness.
So it almost looks like maybe he was hit by that hit and run driver, by that car, and he's laying there in a pool of blood, and then other people are coming up and taking pictures of that.
It's the same phenomenon you see in people. Instead of, like the woman raped on the subway and they're all taking pictures of her.
Oh yeah, instead of helping the woman out that's being raped, everyone grabs their camera to take pictures of it. And he's laying there in a pool of blood and people are taking pictures of that. So here we'll get the rest of Tom's rap going.
It's Trump or Biden, we all been divided by it in the streets. Elections always been rigged. I ain't surprised when somebody cheats. All I see is pentagrams of the propaganda, but our priority's a vaccine. It ain't hard for wolves to find a flock when the sheep are fast asleep. Wake up.
Wake up. You hear that in the background? Wake up. He just said there, it ain't hard for the wolves to find the sheep when the flock is all asleep. And everyone better wake up because the wolves are circling. Anything else?
No, this is a really enlightened protest. I'll maybe comment on it after we're all done, but this as an art form, this stuff really works.
Oh yeah, if people will only watch it and understand it.
Too many journalists scaring you. Too many pencils attempting to rewrite the Constitution. They probably gonna tear it up. I love the country, but I don't trust the people taking care of us. We went to bed with the American dream. We woke up in Nightmerica.
And all I see is propaganda.
And we've already commented in a previous video, we excerpted a small part of this. We've already commented about that line about went to bed with the American dream and woke up in Nightmerica, which probably the line of the year, 2020.
Yeah, we even talked about that sense, the dreamlike sense of how the last 2 years have been, even before we started this.
Yeah, that was in our video about the rabbit hole with Tom MacDonald, our first video that we posted. But I can't let that line go by again, saying that's one of the best lines.
Just the unreality of what's going for people like us who grew up in the real America. This seems unreal.
Yeah, it's a total switch of reality from what we thought was, the world we were living in to some world that we don't recognize. A nightmare. Okay, so he goes back to see Derek and finishes up the song here. So we'll listen to one more chorus.
Propaganda. And all I see is propaganda. Propaganda. And all I see is propaganda. Propaganda. And all I see is propaganda. Propaganda.
Don't look. Oh. Yeah, so he looked, and then it got him too at the very end.
Yeah, that photonic energy that was coming out of the TV in the beginning, I guess.
Yeah. And I want to mention again about that singing, because the first couple times I heard this, I thought that perhaps it was auto-tuned, that it was helping him hit those notes.
Yeah.
But then I saw him actually perform the thing like live on Facebook, and he hit every note. So I don't think there's any auto-tune in there at all. I think that's him singing.
Yeah.
So I think that's a pretty good representation of 2021.
I was thinking, and when we started this, I was kind of skeptical that I could get into it. But the thing is, I've always been into social protest. And back in the 60s, I was an avid follower of the people that, like Phil Oakes, Tom Paxson, and of course Dylan, that were doing it, anchored to their guitars, singing their, kind of commenting like these guys are commenting. But this has so much, it has so much more potential for emotion, and it is in a way more sophisticated too than what was going on back then. They really get to the heart of the issue. And
well, we didn't really have video back then. I mean, you listened to the album, but you didn't get the movie with it.
Yeah, you've got the video component, which is that much more
so powerful. You can create so many emotions by, showing, the scenes.
But it still sort of takes an artistic genius like these individuals are to exploit it, and they're doing a really good job.
Oh, they're tremendously talented.
Commenting on the horrible mess that this society's got.
Now, for the most part, I've been limiting our selection of material to songs like this with a message.
Sure.
Now, these artists all do other songs. Dax does some really great stuff. And you can see just on the pictures here, he's acting out Christ on this one here, and here he's like, I don't know, the Joker. You know, he's a really really good actor.
And I assume you've watched these. What are those?
I haven't watched them all, but I've watched enough to know that he's tremendously talented, and he can rap a mile a minute. I mean,
Well, what are the other themes he touches on, though?
well, a lot of them, you know, a lot of what the rappers do. I mentioned this in connection with the Fire Emoji video that just came out with Tom and Adam and Madchild. A lot of rapping is about boasting about what a good rapper you are.
Yeah, it's
You
a
know?
cultural thing, I guess.
It's a cultural thing that you want to, you know, show that you have the best bars, that you can have the best rhythm and beat, and
So it's a lot of bravado.
a lot of bravado. So there's a lot of that going on in all these things. And for example,
And that interests me much less than the
yeah, that doesn't
commentary.
interest me. I admire the technical skill that they display, but I wouldn't have much to say about it other than, wow, that's really great, you know, because
But maybe that's analogous to in our day a person showing their dexterity on guitar or something.
yeah, like
Yeah.
doing a guitar solo or something. They just do it with their voice. But that's the reason, actually, that we didn't do a reaction to Fire Emoji. There's no real message to that song other than we are the best rappers, independent rappers
Yeah.
in the world,
And also-
which is true.
Us old guys could give a shit.
What's that?
We could give a shit, us old guys. I mean, it's not relevant to our world.
Well, I admire the skill.
The hierarchy of
Now,
rappers.
I regret that there was one good line in that song that, and I'm going to repeat it now, since we're not going to do a reaction video. He said he's killing it. This was Tom's line. He says, "I'm killing it like hitmen that work for Hillary Clinton." After evidence was found that would have put her in prison.
Oh, so he got a little jab in there.
Yeah, but he's saying he's killing it. In other words, he's killing the rap. You know, he's killing the song, just like Hillary Clinton's hitman would kill a witness that was going to put her in prison, which is a great line. But it wasn't enough for me to want to do the whole song, you know, for one line. But I'm glad I got to mention it anyway. So that's Mr. Dax, and we will continue to look for him to come out with some more messages that we can appreciate. And thanks for watching.